ThaBoxingvoice.com live here with Jimmy Kambosos. So I wanted to just find out, man, when did you put him in boxing? Why boxing?
Basically put him in boxing when he was around about 11 and a half. He was playing that sport we got back home called rugby league. And he was like obviously a great player, but the thing is he was an overweight kid. So I said to George, I said, listen here, buddy. I said, next year you're not going to make the side. So you know what? How about we try get some weight off you and drop your weight. I think at the time George was 135. He was only 11 and a half. So
135
at 11 and a half. So he was a you know, a fat little kid, as they call him.
So he's basically been holding that weight all his life.
Yep, pretty much, yeah, because he's fighting at 135. So anyway, we put him into a boxing gym. After probably the first week of him training there, I literally asked him, what do you think of the boxing? He says, Dad, I love it. So because he was playing like rugby league, this was the off season. So 6 months later, he's gone from we talk kilos, right? So he's gone from 60 kilos down to 47. So literally, he's gone down to like a flyweight or something. And that was it. So he's never looked back. He never cheated himself. He never took a shortcut when he was training, especially in the rugby league. He'd finish last, but the thing is, that's the greatness about George. He's got a real mental, tough mind, you know. And the rest of his kind of history, to be honest.
Now, why boxing? Did you box? Did your grandfather?
I trained in a couple of gyms when I was younger, but I was playing rugby league as well. I think it was just purely because we know that boxing's got you know, it's that kind of sport where you can take the weight off or something like that. So hey Eddie. Hey, champ.
Oh, mate. Feet touch the ground yet? Or not?
No, mate. See you, my man. Nah, it was just, look, we just chose box. Like I said to him, listen, George, what do you want, mate? You want to do surf carnivals, nippers? Do you want to do this? He says, nah. I said, all right, you know what? Let's go down to the boxing gym, 20-minute drive from home. We'll introduce ourselves. I know that the boys are down there. It was Costa Zoo's old gym. So I said, you know what? Let's go down there and just tell the head trainer who you are, what you're about, where you want to be in the future as a rugby league player, and we just want to take some pounds off you. And like I said, the kid took a love for it, and that was the end of it.
So are you born and raised in Australia?
Born and raised in Australia. My parents migrated in the mid-60s.
So you would be more qualified than myself to answer this. Obviously, since your son's win, there's been a lot of commotion and talk about greatest Australian boxer.
Yeah.
Jeff Finnick has been a 3-time champion, 3 different divisions.
Yep.
Obviously, Costa Zoo was WBA, WBC, and unified with Zab Judah,
yep,
which is probably the most glorified fight because of the name value that Zab and Costa brought. But do you feel that your son's win is bigger than those achievements because he beat the man to beat the man?
Pretty much spot on. He beat the man to beat the man, and not only that, I mean, we've been on the road a long time, and George hasn't fought in Australia, you know, since 2017. So, you know, and he was the biggest underdog in this fight. I mean, no one gave George a chance. No one even thought he'd last a round, you know. So as a sporting achievement, and an Australian sporting achievement, and a Greek sporting achievement, as far as we're concerned, to be able to pretty much, and I know there's always a grey area in regards to the undisputed side of things, but even, you know, Sullivan said the other day that, nah, you are the undisputed. The WBC, you know, you've got everything, you're the man. So yes, George is Australia's greatest boxer. And you know what? Full respect to Costa Zoo, Jeff Finnick. You know, they've gone out there and done it all. And Jeff had held that mantle for a long time as Australia's greatest. Well, you know what? That has all changed as of last Saturday night.
Now, how is this win bigger for your son than Horn's win over Manny Pacquiao, who was a legend?
That was a great win. That was a great win.
But that one was controversial to some.
Well,
so does that...
I don't want to go down that road, but yeah, there was a little bit of controversy. It was in his hometown, in his own backyard. You know, I was a part of the Manny Pacquiao training camp. I mean, George was Manny's lead sparring partner. I did tell Freddie and all these guys that, you know what, this Australian, he's going to come and fight. Especially, everyone's going to love Manny. But when the tide starts to turn, the Aussies will get behind the Aussie. That was a great win. I'm not taking it away. I know people say it was controversial. It was a really close fight, and to beat the champ, you really got to beat the champ, especially Manny Pacquiao. Iconic champion, legend, mate. You know, no one will ever surpass what he's done. But the difference is George Kambosos Jr. has been on the road, like I said before, and he beat the man and he did it in a hostile crowd. They all were booing him, and if you know, that's just a brilliant way of doing it, you know.
So ideally, what's your best case scenario? What do you want to see for your son next? No politics, nothing getting in the way. What do you want to see for George next?
Well, obviously, we're here for the Haney and the Diaz fight. Everyone's talking about Haney. You know, he's got the WBC. George, he's not gonna basically sidestep any of these champions. You know, you've got the Haneys, you've got the Gervonta Davises, Ryan Garcias, you know, Lomachenko's, you've got all these dudes. But you know what? This is the fight for Kambosos that makes the most sense. Now, obviously, can you explain that? What do you mean? Well, because he's got the WBC belt, you know. So the thing is, it makes the most sense. But look, you know, things could pan out differently. But George definitely, he's going to sit down. We'll sit down with the Haney team. But look, Devon's got a job to do on Saturday. That's all he's got to concentrate, because it has been a year of the the underdogs, and there's been upsets. So he's just got to concentrate on what's in front of him, and then we can all sit down and look at the fact that Australia is where the fight is. We're looking at scheduling it. 80,000. We've got two big stadiums, one in Melbourne, one in Sydney. One's an indoor stadium that Holly Holm and Ronda Rousey fought in, 76,000 with a closed roof. Atmosphere was electric. We've got an outdoor stadium in Sydney. But yeah, we will sit down and look at the options, but I think Devon at this point in time is the #1 lead guy amongst the elite, because I'm calling them all elite because it's the hottest division. This is a super hot division. They're all champions, they're all elite, but the thing is, George Kambosos at the moment has got everything that everybody wants. He showcased himself last Saturday night against Teofimo. He did a job on Teo, and he did it in style. And even George said it himself, he goes, he was bringing the heat. I took the shots, I moved well, I caught him with that right hand, and I was hoping he'd get up, because everyone would turn around and say, that was a fluke. He goes, and you know what I did? For the next 12 rounds, I boxed his ears off. And even when he did drop me, I got up and I said, I went away from the game plan. And that's what we told him in the corner. You stepped away from the game plan, George. Get back to the game plan. He says, oh yeah, I'm going to punish him now. So yeah, looking forward to this fight anyway, this Saturday night. And then we're going to go to the Tank Davis Cruz fight. That's another great fight. You know what I mean? Tank said something the other day. He'll fight George Kambosos for free. That's even better. If he's going to honour that and sign that deal, well, even better. George Kambosos will pick up your money, and you'll just double up on pretty much on his purse if Tank's going to fight for free.
He actually says something else about fighting George for no belts.
Who said that?
Tank.
He said that? No belts?
No belts.
Well, how are we going to do that when George got all the belts?
Well, that's what he's saying. He said that he would love to fight Kambosos, but not for the belts. I don't know if it's a Mayweather. You know, Mayweather, I think it was versus Cotto, decided not to pay for the WBA sanctioning fee.
Yeah.
You know, he's like, I got enough belts. I don't need these sanctioning fees. Yeah. And it is expensive to be a unified champion.
Well, we all know that. We all know that. But
is that still a fight that you would push your son towards if technically, literally, no belts were on the line?
Well, I wouldn't push George in any direction at all. My job is basically to sit back and have a look at the whole picture. He's the man, and he's the shot caller now. So George makes the decisions, who he wants to fight. You know, it's his call.
And everybody's on the table.
Yeah, that's right. Everybody.
And you know, you asked me a question earlier. Yeah. You asked me, are we on the same page with Lou? Are we on the same page with Lou?
Of course we're on the same page. I mean, look, George is contracted to Lou DiBella. Lou DiBella is his promoter. DiBella Promotions.
And everything that we do is as a team. It's that simple. So, you know, it's just that simple.
And look, I'm looking forward to sitting down with Peter and Lou and literally having a look at this, because Lou knows now he's got a superstar.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Lou's sitting there and going, mate, I've got a boy that everybody wants a piece of now.
It's a good situation to have.
It's a brilliant situation.
You know, being able to figure out what's going to bring in the most money, what's going to be the best fight, what's going to, you know, give the fans what they want. You know, what a great division to be in right now.
Yeah.
What a great situation with all these talented fighters. And we got the guy that's right now, you know, the one that's in the position where everyone's got to come to him.
Yeah, and look, like I was saying, we know Haney's fighting Diaz, and Haney's got that WBC, and you know what George is like. George is a dog, mate. He's a dog. He just wants everything.
Right.
You know what? And he won't sit back and say, well, nah, I want that. Give me that bone.
We're going to sit and talk about it.
But we'll talk about it.
We'll sit and talk about it.
That's what I'm saying. George,
but you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely. There's too many options to make a decision.
But, you know, look.
You got to weigh all the options first.
It is a committee. We're a team.
Yeah.
We've been doing this for a
long time.
He's been doing this since George's 11.
Well, I've been doing it because I'm his dad and co-manager.
I'm going on year 5. Okay. Lou has been what, 2018?
2018 we signed. Yeah.
So it's like, you know, this is nothing new. You know, we've been at this, and you know, it's a great situation. It's not even a week old.
No.
You know, we're really enjoying this.
But look, we're getting all the attention.
Yeah.
You know, we're just pretty much rolling into a week. You know, and you know what? He's the shot caller right over there. He's the shot caller, and we just sit down.
And let me ask you, what you think of his fight?
Amazing.
Yeah, amazing.
I didn't think it was going to happen. So,
That's
you know,
right.
for boxing,
Right.
it's always the best. The upsets are always better. I know the teams don't like
No,
for the
okay.
underdog to win, but
Right.
it was
But
a
you
better
know what?
story.
But the underdog, right, didn't fight like an underdog.
No, of course not.
The underdog fought like a champion. Put him down in the first round. Was in there, boxing, banging, everything that people didn't think he was going to do. Got put
That
down.
double left hook was amazing.
Got put down in the 10th.
I've been talking about that since that fight, because, you know, the mechanics of a left hook to the body, bringing it back upstairs, is simpler than double left hook. That was like Roy Jones.
And he counted well, and the stiff jab. You know, busting
but
up
it goes
round
back
by
to the
round.
team. It goes back to the team. He's got 2 great coaches.
Great strategy.
We got the best cut man in the business. Another set of eyes in Mike Basil. You know, he's got Javier Centeno, Mick Ackway. You know, they didn't stop.
No.
They didn't stop, and they each bring something to the table.
And the beauty, there's no ego in this team.
Yeah.
There's no ego. We always said it. You know, we're basically with Javier Centeno, Mick Ackway. Brilliant minds. They've got great eyes. They know the business inside out. And then obviously when Baz, you know, came into the side as well, another great, you know, boxing analyst. He knows things. These guys gelled so well. Myself and Peter on pretty much on the outside looking in, but the biggest thing is it's all about Kambosos. It wasn't about anybody else. It was about what George wanted and how George was going to pretty much become the undisputed. And I know people say it's an upset, but in George's head,
Right.
it was never an upset.
Right. Yeah, it was an odds-on upset, but he always believed that he was going to get it done, and he said it. He kept saying it wasn't just bravado. It just wasn't just hype. I mean, he meant every single word of it.
Yeah, and he said it through interview after. He said it pretty much back in April. Yeah.
For the video, feel free to hit the like, subscribe, and share. As always, if you want to support us to the next level, head over to the patreon.com/ThaBoxingVoice. We have tons of exclusive from Border Wars, Entitled, betting shows, the list goes on and on and on. But in addition to that, if you guys have questions for fighters, trainers, and promoters, this is where you can submit them. We will run out, get these questions answered, and put it back on the show just for you guys. Appreciate it. Peace.